right, so we're talking about professionalism. So what does professionalism mean to you? Not what's up on the board. Put it in your own words. What would you say professionalism means to you?
What you do, your professional.
Okay, so what you do as a career. Yes, ma'am. Good. How you want to be perceived by other people. It's sad, but people make judgments first impression judgments based on how you look. If you come to a job interview and you're wearing holey jeans and a t-shirt and you're going to apply for a job in a sales office, chances are you're probably not going to get that job. Now, here's a really interesting story. So I just went to a week-long conference in Houston called Short Course, but put on by the Texas Hotel Lodging Association. And this gentleman that was talking about, I was in a session about hiring people, like how to hire the right candidate. And he conveyed a story where a woman came in for a job interview, and she was not dressed professionally. And so, but based on her resume, she was very qualified. She was a very strong contender for the position, but she was not dressed professionally. And so he told her, pulled her aside and he said, "You are not dressed professionally. I'm going to give you some time to go home and change. What you're wearing is not appropriate for the job interview. I'm going to allow you to go home, change to what you think is professional attire. And what do you want to say? 4 o'clock this afternoon, come back." And she came back. She was dressed professionally and she got hired. So you can't always judge a book by its cover because you don't know what's going on in another person's life. Maybe there was a huge emergency at home and she didn't have time to go home and change clothes to get to the job interview, but she was still being respectful of the time of the appointment that she had made, right? And so you just never know. So that job opportunity, that gentleman who gave that session, I was like, wow, that's really interesting. Because I teach in professionalism, you got one shot. But what if any one of you could be that manager in the future and do that person a solid. Sorry, be a little bit more professional. Do that person a professional courtesy and say, "This is not professional attire. Go home, do what you need to do to get dressed professionally, and then come back and let's have an interview." Okay? Think about what that meant to that person, to that applicant. And what else do you think is about professionalism?
Be responsible.
Good, being responsible, right? So having that responsibility trait, because then people look up to you and they want to follow that trait and they want to follow that behavior. Good, what else?
Punctuality.
Punctuality. That is probably one of the biggest concerns when I talk to employers is that people are habitually late. They are consistently late for their job. Okay? So punctuality and being on time is key. Any other things? Absolutely, having manners. When did that go out the window? Right? It needs to come back. Saying please, saying thank you. I was in Scotland a couple years ago, and I was at a gas station, and this little old lady was walking to the door, and I held the door open, and she said, "Oh, you don't have to do that." And I said, "Yes, ma'am, I'm from Texas. I absolutely do have to hold the door open. It's in my blood to be hospitable, you know?" And so, absolutely, having manners, treating people with respect is a huge part of professionalism. Anything else we want to add to that? That's a great list. All right. Professionalism also has to do with being professional in the environment. Okay? If I'm with my friends, even though I have friends from the industry, if I'm with them at happy hour, I behave differently than if I'm not with the same group of people at a networking event. Okay? At a networking event, it's very professional. At happy hour, I can be a little bit more casual. Okay? And so professionalism is being appropriate for the setting in which you are in. Our industry, we're blessed. Okay? We're blessed because we deal with not only our coworkers, like most people do in the business world, in the corporate world, they deal with like their coworkers. We also get to work with guests. Okay, that's something that I learned at Cheesecake Factory. We don't have customers, we have guests. Just the way that you say something changes your mind frame and your perspective on things, right? Oh, I have customers. No, I have guests. And so if I have a guest at my table, I'm going to treat them differently than if I had a customer at my table, right? A customer is transaction. Here's your food, I take your order, here's your food, you give me money, get out, go see the next person, right? Whereas guests, you want to make them feel welcome. I also learned at Cheesecake Factory. So I was working there when we first opened at North Star Mall. I was on the opening team of that store. And this guest walked up to me and said, where's the restroom? And I said, it's right over behind those trees. Now, granted, there was two like trees by the restroom entrance. It wasn't telling him to go behind the trees. But I was like, it's right over there behind the trees. And my trainer walks up and she's like, David, we never point. We use our whole hand. And so I was just like, who are you? I was like, what are you talking about? But now, if somebody asks me directions, I'm like, oh yeah, it's right over there, right? It's just habit. And sometimes Chef Chris makes fun of me. She's like, oh yes, come this way, But it's like, that's just how I am. That's just ingrained in my mind because one person said, David, we never point. We always use our whole hand. And now, like, that's ingrained in me, okay? So working with people, that is a huge part of our industry. We all value something, okay? What are some things that you might value? Good, friends and family. Absolutely, experiences. Time is definitely a good one. Someone once told me, one of my mentors in the industry once told me, you never know when the right place and the right time is going to be, so you have to be everywhere. And I took her very literally for a while, and I'm slowly backing off that. I'm slowly learning how to say no. We'll talk about how to say no professionally when we talk about communication. What else? Anybody value money? It's okay, don't be afraid of it, right? Value in our money is what helps us to have those great experiences. And so, excuse me. So our values are different for each of us. If you value time, our industry is a challenging industry if you value time, if you value your time. Okay, you can do it, you can balance work and life. But our industry, we're open holidays, weekends. When other people are going out to eat, that's when we're working. When other people are out going on vacation, that's when we're working in our hotels. And so, yes, we do, sometimes we work a lot. Our time is limited with our families and friends. But how many of you are culinary arts? How many of you like to cook for people? Okay, so how many of you have made something, whether it's at a restaurant or at home, and then you stop and look at people when they start eating your food. And the moment they take that bite and they close their eyes and they're like, what does that do to you? That just gave me goosebumps and I'm not even eating food, okay? That's what you value then. You value that self, that guest satisfaction, that bringing joy to people through food, joy that can only be brought to people through food or through baked goods, right? Oh my gosh, there's nothing better in this world than a good piece of carrot cake. That is like how many of y'all favorite cake is carrot cake? That cream cheese icing. I had one recently, they put caramel in between. Oh my gosh, it was heaven. I ate the whole slice. I bought it to share, but I had to go back and buy a second slice so that the other person didn't realize I ate the whole first slice. So we value something, okay? We all value something. Our personalities are different. There's how many of us in here? 4, 8, 12, 16, 22, 5, 26. There's 26 of us. And chances are we all have a different personality. There might be some things we have in common in our personalities, but all of our personalities are different. And going back to that human factor, your coworkers have different personalities. Your guests have different personalities. How many of y'all waited tables before? Okay, how many of you thought that you're like real chummy with your guests, and then it turns out that's probably not the case, right? You're a little bit too casual. Let me tell you about one time at the Cheesecake Factory. Their fresh fish of the day was grilled mahi-mahi and pecan crusted catfish. I'm pretty sure if you go in today, 17 years later, it's still grilled mahi-mahi and pecan crusted catfish. It was the same thing forever, okay? So I greet these guests, and I tell them, I go through my whole spiel. Hi, I'm David. I'll be taking care of y'all today. Our fresh fish of the day is pecan crusted catfish and grilled mahi-mahi. And this lady asked me, she said, isn't mahi-mahi dolphin fish? And I said, well, I think it might be called that, but I don't think it's, or no, she said, isn't it mahi-mahi dolphin? And I said, well, I think it might be called the dolphin fish, but I don't think it's actually dolphin. I was like, what can I get you to drink? And so I take their drink order, I come back with their bread and their drinks, and she says, well, how fresh is your mahi-mahi? I was like, well, our dolphin tank's out back, so just give us a few minutes. She was not happy about that comment. I'm like, first of all, ma'am, we're at a mall, so of course we don't have a dolphin tank. But second of all, I thought we had a thing going, and I guess we didn't have a thing going, right? So you call my manager over, this is inappropriate, you shouldn't joke about killing dolphins. I was like, okay, that's the day I learned that we can't joke around with our guests as if they were my friends. Because some of my friends would have realized I was joking, and they would have just laughed it off, and we move on, right? So that personality, there was definitely a personality clash in that situation, okay? So I'm going to hit pause on the video for a moment, and we're going to do an activity. Hopefully we can get this done, this portion done before we finish the class. So we've added up our scores. The number in the bottom that has your highest score is your predominant color, your predominant personality trait, okay? You might have one that has a tie. You might have two of them that have a tie. But if you are one that has a double, like that is a tie, then there's definitely one that is going to be more associated with you. I'm trying to see if I have mine that I did last couple weeks ago. Let's see. Maybe I got rid of it. Yeah, I did. I must have. So I am a blue, followed by orange, followed by green, followed by gold. So what does that mean? It's a great question. I'm glad you asked. Let's talk about that. Okay. So blues. Blues make our decisions based on our emotions. Okay. We make decisions based on our emotions. We make our decisions based on the emotions of others. How is what I'm going to do going to affect somebody else? Okay. They're also that person, growing up as a kid, as long as we're having fun, we're all winners. I don't know at what point the switch was flipped, but now I am like the most competitive person when it comes to like laser tag. I will tell perfectly random strangers, this is how we're going to win. Right? You shoot someone in the back. If they're running away from you, you use that laser gun and you shoot them in the back because that gives you extra points as they're running away. I don't know where that happened, but I used to be that person. Oh, as long as we're all having fun. I was the one that I now hate of other people. It's like, no, we have to win. Get in this game, okay? Orange. Those are people who like change. They like a little bit of chaos. Okay, they don't like things to be cut and dry. They like to be like impulsive. They like to let's go do this right now, kind of a thing. So I guess that makes sense. I'm blue and orange. I am very competitive. Gold. They like the rules. Okay, they're organized. Gold is my least color. Okay, gold is my lowest color. Green, very logically, they stop and think, right? So if somebody is an orange and they make their decisions on the spot, How many of y'all are greens? Raise your hand if green is your highest color. So that means you stop and think about all the different options before you make a decision, right? Possibly. How annoying would that be to somebody like me who's like, let's make a decision, right? And I'm not saying annoying in a bad way, but just understanding in the workplace how our personalities come together. So when you actually are in a group, that person's not participating. They're being thoughtful about their response. But yet the orange person here is like, hurry up, let's make a decision. And the blue person's over here like, oh, don't get upset with them. They're just trying to do their thing, right? And so this is how all these personalities come together, okay? And so is this a perfect science? Absolutely not, okay? But what you can see is that you have traits from each individual category. It's just one is probably more dominant than the other. Does anybody's results make sense to them?
Yeah.
Right? And so how many of you does not make sense? You're like, no, that's not me at all. Anybody? Okay, cool. So use this. If you're working with somebody, be like, hey, are you a blue or green? Right? It's like, what are you talking about? Like, here's this. I posted this. I don't think I posted this on Canvas, but I will post this on Canvas. If you want to take this home to your families and your friends, be like, here, fill this out. Let's see why we always argue. Mr. Uminsky said, no, just kidding. I am not a licensed psychologist or whatever they are. Okay? So think about that. Think about somebody at work. Think about somebody in a class that you've had, somebody at home. Think about the people that you respect and admire. So what are some qualities about those people that you respect and admire?
Honesty.
They're honest. Good. What else? Even when it's like brutal honesty. No, that dress does not look good on you. I'm not saying it doesn't. I'm just saying sometimes you gotta be brutally honest. That is not your tone. It's not your color tone. You're more autumn. No springs. Just kidding. Okay, what else? Sorry. Loyalty and respect. Absolutely. And respect is a two-way street. Okay? I think oftentimes people have this mindset of you have to respect me.
Mm-hmm.
What have you done to lead me to respect you? And that goes into our attitude, which is on the next part of the slides. Okay? So those are things that if you respect somebody, obviously you want to mimic those. I mean, we've all had those bosses where you're like, I am never doing that. I'm never going to treat my team members that way, right? And so I am a firm believer that you are always learning. Even if you learn what not to do, you're always learning, okay? So you're in a situation and your boss is yelling at you. You're learning right then and there how you feel. You never want to make somebody else feel that same way. And that's going to make you grow as a leader in your organizations. And you're going to say, you know what? If that manager had just taken 5 minutes and pulled me to the back office and had a conversation with me, I wouldn't have stormed out and quit on the spot. But instead of the way that they handled it, that's why I stormed out and quit. They say that people more often quit their managers than they do quit their jobs. They get to a point where they just cannot work with either a coworker or a manager anymore, and they leave. How unfortunate is that? We are in the people business. And our business is not just the customers and the guests that we serve, but it's our internal customers, our internal guests, which are our team members. Okay? And so we want to mimic those things. Attitude. If you walk in like, oh, I'm the baddest person in this world, and my carrot cake is the best, and yours is awful. Sorry to edit my words. We're in professionalism. Okay? That's not the right attitude. Oh, let me try your carrot cake. Oh, this is really good. And then in your mind, you're like, oh yeah, mine's better. But you're like, wow, this is good. Or, hey, have you ever thought about doing something like this? And then that other person, their attitude can be like, how dare you critique my carrot cake? Or their attitude could be like, wow, this person's helping me grow. This person's really helping me better my recipe. This is my grandma's recipe. You don't mess with my grandma. But it's your attitude. It goes two ways. People don't offend you. You choose to be offended by what somebody says. Okay? If someone says something that could be portrayed as offensive, you choose whether or not it's going to offend you, whether or not it's going to affect your attitude or your mood. Once you get into that phase, I mean, that day that lady called my manager over because I told her we killed dolphins at the Cheesecake Factory, that could have ruined my whole day. And I could have been moping around the restaurant, and that's going to affect the experience of my guest after that. But you know what? One and done. Let's move on. Guess what? I'm never going to tell somebody we have a dolphin tank back in the back at North Star Mall. Okay? Learn that lesson. Let's move forward. So your attitude is everything. And that changes your perspective. Now, I understand that our world is not all sunshine and rainbows. Okay? I understand that. But if we focus on those negative things all the time, how many of you have a friend that's like, oh yeah, it's sunny, but it's way too hot. Oh, it's cloudy, but now it's too cold. Okay, Eeyore, let's get over this. And let's decide that, you know what? Oh my gosh, it's sunny. I'm going to work on my tan today. Or, oh my gosh, it's rainy. Sweet, I get to wear my new rain boots, right? And so whatever your perspective is, I am, obviously, if you can't tell, I'm very much a glass half full. I'm very much optimistic. Usually when I'm in front of people. When I get home, I'm just like, I don't want to talk to a single person. In our industry, we get like that, right? How many of y'all work in the industry? Whether it's food service, hotels, whatever. We are on 24/7. Not 24/7, but we're on. When we are at our job, nobody cares that we have an awful thing going on in our personal life. When we walk through that door, boom, I'm at work. I leave that stuff behind. It's going to be there when I go home. But when I come home, then I can deal with that. When I'm at work, I focus on my guests because guess what? I may have served chicken fried steak 1,000 times, but that's this person's chicken fried steak. I may have cooked fried chicken. Everything's fried today. I may have cooked thousands of fried chickens. I may have baked thousands of cinnamon rolls. But that could be that person's first cinnamon roll. And that's going to change their perspective on your business, on whether or not they come back to your business, whether or not they recommend your business to other people. So our attitude is everything. Yeah, does it suck being at work sometimes? Absolutely. Would I rather be at home? Absolutely. There's some show on Netflix I should be binging right now, but instead I got to serve these people chicken fried steak for the 100th time. If that's my attitude, guess what? I'm not going to get very far. But you know what? Oh my gosh, I get to serve these people chicken fried steak today so I can pay for my Netflix subscription. Boom, different perspective. I'm doing the same thing. Okay? And so that's where the difference is. We've got about 7 minutes. Oh no, we've got too many slides, but we'll try to get through as much as possible right now. Self-concept, self-image, self-efficacy, and projection. Okay? These are things. Your self-concept is how you view yourself. Your self-image is how you think other people. Oh, that person just gave me the side eye. That person hates me. Okay? That's how you think other people view you. Self-efficacy is what you believe in your abilities. How many of you love math? I know it's a 4-letter bad word. Okay? I love math. How many of you hate math? Okay? If you say, I hate math, I'm never going to get it, guess what? You're never going to get it. That's self-efficacy. The first step is, you know what? I'm going to learn to tolerate math. I need to learn why math is important. If you're in my cost control class, RSTO 2301, and you all have to take it at some point, and I'm the only one who teaches it, hopefully you will learn to tolerate math. Because we are in a business industry. If you don't know how to do simple math, add, subtract, multiply, divide, that's all we do in that class. If you don't know how to do that, your business is not going to be successful. And it doesn't matter how amazing your cheesecake is. Mine's pretty amazing, by the way. Doesn't matter how amazing your cheesecake is, or your carrot cake, or your cinnamon rolls, or your chicken fried steak. If you're not managing your business appropriately, you're not going to have a business to sell those things. That's why math is important. All of these things point to your brand. What is a brand? Who can name any brand? Nike. That's usually always the first one. That's a good sign for Nike. That's great brand recognition. What else? Duncan Hines. True Religion. Starbucks. Sorry? Chanel. What do all these brands have in common besides brand recognition? They're typically associated with what? Quality, money, value. Okay, so all of these things, and they have this value because their self-concept. I'm going to be the best people in athletic shoes, tennis shoes. Nike does that, right? Their self-image. What do people see about them? They're very aware of which athletes they choose to sponsor, to wear their product, because there are people that have the same values with them. Self-efficacy is we can be the premier athletic shoe. If they just say, I think we maybe get it, it's probably not enough, okay? And so then by doing that, you project that executive presence. So your personal brand. We're going to watch this video here in just next class so we don't run out of time. I want to talk about this personal. So what do you think these pineapples around the license plate and this 26.2 sticker, what do those two things have in common?
The pineapples is for Hawaii.
For Hawaii, okay, good. What's 26.2? The distance of a full marathon, 26.2 miles. So the pineapple, also a symbol of hospitality. This is my 2018 Fiesta medal. I was having happy hour, my friend Shanna here in the middle. She and I were having happy hour one time. And I said, hey Shanna, do you want to see my new Fiesta medal for 2019? And she was like, yeah. So as I'm looking through my phone trying to find the picture, I said, it celebrates my new car. And she said, is your new car silver? And I said, yes. How did you know that? She said, I was walking in to the restaurant and I saw pineapples around the license plate and I saw 26.2 sticker and I thought, did David get a new car? That's how personal branding works. That's how personal branding works. My new car is silver. I have license plate that has pineapples because that is a symbol of hospitality and everybody knows that I wear the crap out of pineapples, okay? I also wear bow ties, so I have my pineapple with my bow tie. I recognize myself as the International CTA of the Year. And then Shanna had done a full marathon with me in 2018. So the fact that we had that commonality, she is the chief of staff for Cassandra Mate, who is the CEO of the Visit San Antonio, the Convention Visitors Bureau. And so she's like, yeah, you have a new car, it's silver, with two pieces of information that seem completely unrelated. But she put those two pieces of the puzzle, and the first thing was, I wonder if David got a new car. That's how personal branding works, okay? So we'll pick up here on the next class, but before you go, I want to talk about